How much can one body take?
Get up! Hurry up!
For the next 61 days, 200 of the Army's toughest soldiers will willingly subject themselves to torture. Nearly half will quit or collapse. The reward for surviving? The coveted Ranger tab, a 50-cent piece of cloth that symbolizes membership in the most elite combat fraternity, America's legendary commando force, the U.S. Army Rangers.
There you go, be aggressive.
Join us for an unprecedented glimpse inside the brutal gauntlet that separates Rangers from all others, following one class each step of the way through the trial by fire that is Ranger School. How much can one man take? Meet the Army's premier strike force. These are the U.S. Army Rangers in action. As elite shock troops, the job of an Army Ranger is clear-cut. Attack with lightning speed, day or night, across land, sea, or air, and kill an enemy before he knows what is hidden. As frontline commandos, these men know they will be the first to fight and the first to die.
Let's go, Ranger. Get up there. Up and over.
To select new Rangers, the U.S. Army has forged a 9-week course, which will weed the weak from the strong, under conditions as miserable as war itself. Since the Rangers were formed during World War II, some of the fiercest soldiers on the planet have proven themselves in the legendary torture course known as Ranger School. Camp Rogers, Georgia, day 1 of Ranger School, Class 10-00. 240 of the Army's finest soldiers have volunteered to pit themselves against this grueling test to see if they have what it takes to be a Ranger.
Get ready. Get set. Begin.
Before they finish the 9-week course, nearly 75% will drop out, claimed by injury, fatigue, or failure.
You better sound off while you out here doing these exercises.
For the first time, cameras have been allowed inside Ranger School for an exclusive glimpse inside this torture test.
You volunteered to come here, Ranger.
During the first week, the relentless battery of physical challenges called Ranger Assessment Week will quickly weed out the unfit.
I think I'm a sergeant now, sir, huh?
Yes, Sergeant.
You need to start understanding. Do you understand?
Roger, Sergeant.
On day 1, the Ranger hopefuls are introduced to the men who will control every minute of their lives for the next 9 weeks.
What are you doing? Straighten your legs out. Get with the cadence.
The Ranger instructors, or RIs, are all themselves veteran Rangers. Their first role with any new class is one of pure intimidation.
In our formation.
You're one of those. I know you're one of those. Just do the bare minimum, enough that it takes to get over, right? That's all you want to do is get over.
Hey, don't talk back to him.
For the most part, that's what it is. It's psychologically a shock to them. They're not expecting it, and we're on them constantly.
While the yelling and harassment might remind some students of Army boot camp, the intensity of Ranger School will make basic training seem tame by comparison.
Quit already.
At the end of day 1, 23 Ranger students have already dropped. For those who remain, 3 hours of sleep gives little time to recover from the pounding and stress.
Run me some more, hey.
Each day dawns with the same agenda as the last, pure agony. This 5 a.m. speed run will burn legs and lungs and drive 26 more men from the class. Those who can't hack it are sent packing with little remorse.
Ranger Page, go get your equipment, go change your clothes, and get out of here. That way you kept the plane home tonight.
The scorching Georgia sun also takes its toll. Heat stroke literally cooks the students where they stand. Captain Damone Garner, an 11-year Army veteran from Tennessee, knows he must overcome the mounting pain.
Wait for my Ranger buddy!
If you can tell your mind and tell your heart and soul, hey, you can do this, and you can see the next man, he's making that first step, then you can make that first step.
Ranger!
The towering obstacles of the water confidence test exist solely to expose weakness. Any fear of heights will be instantly revealed.
Walk the log, Ranger.
One student injures his neck after plummeting into the water from a 30-foot rope. Within seconds, he's in the hands of medics and on his way to the hospital for recovery. Medical attention is always close at hand, since 4 Ranger students died from hypothermia and exhaustion in 1995. Their deaths brought to 27 the total number of lives lost in Ranger School.
Take him down! Take him down, Durant!
Amid the physical hardships of Ranger Assessment Week, the students also hone their hand-to-hand combat skills. Armed with small weapons or their bare hands, every man must perfect the oldest killing methods on the battlefield.
Ranger! Ranger!
Each Ranger class has candidates from other branches of the military and from foreign armies. With razor-sharp bayonets fixed to the muzzles of their rifles, the men must show that they can survive on tenacity when technology fails. By day 4, 61 more students have disappeared from Class 10-00. Men must constantly be pushed to the breaking point to prepare them for the stress they may one day face in battle.
Hey, baby! Yeah, get some Ranger!
October 1993. A company of U.S. Army Rangers is ambushed on a mission in Mogadishu, Somalia. The assault force of 160 Rangers stood muzzle to muzzle with thousands of heavily armed militia. Against these murderous odds, the Rangers lost 18 men as they fought their way to safety. With this grim memory guiding them, the students are pitted against the urbanized terrain site to learn how to survive when the fight is house to house. But the ability to deliver a deadly blow from the sky is the ultimate calling card of the airborne Ranger. One of the final tests of the first week of Ranger School is a 3,000-foot parachute jump, fully armed and ready for combat. But for skilled paratroopers like Captain Jason Hancock, the tension of the jump is a pure rush.
Oh my goodness, it's great. It's like eating a bag of sugar all at once. Big burst of adrenaline, and it just hits you real fast, and then you relax because everything works out good, and you hit the ground and you're still there, and another burst of adrenaline because you're ready to move on to your objective.
Now down to just 171 men, A brutal 16-mile march into the Georgia woods marks the end of Ranger Assessment Week. Just before sunrise, Class 1000 enters Camp Darby to begin the first of 3 challenging phases of Ranger School. With 8 weeks of relentless torture still standing between them and the Ranger tab, those who survive will be forced to endure more pain than they had ever imagined.
Bravo team!
Down by the river. Down by the river. Took a little walk.
For the men of Class 1000, the end of Ranger Assessment Week was just the beginning of the ordeal that is Ranger School. Their next phase begins with a make-or-break test, a mile-long, gut-busting obstacle course called the Darby Queen.
You better get off that obstacle! You got about 10 seconds left! Hurry up!
Ranger! Yeah, Ranger! Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo.
Perfect tour.
One of the few men to conquer the Darby Queen with ease is Sergeant Nathaniel Guy, a U.S. Marine.
Let's go, Marine.
I'm not taking anything for granted. Just want to get through each day, one day at a time. Once I get done with that day, I'm just one day closer to graduation.
Move out.
Move, move, move! Get up there, you! Go, go, go!
You're thinking too long, Ranger Ward. Come on, Ranger, let's go.
You sound like a bunch of Girl Scouts! Turn around, go back to the bottom!
Army Lieutenant Adrian Spivak has failed Ranger School 4 times, but an unwillingness to give up on his dream has brought him back for one last chance.
I look at it this way. I got my Ranger tab in my heart because I know it's there. I've worked for it. That's all it is. I got it deep in my heart, and that's the only place where it matters.
Come on over here, you. You got one more chance. Come on. Jump, jump. Up and up. Oh, my God. That was ugly.
In combat, a Ranger unit must often race alone through enemy lines to strike with sudden and deadly force. To find men who can fight and win in these conditions, Ranger School will now thrust these soldiers into a virtual war.
240! 240! Bravo team, get it what you got!
Where you at, gun? Where you at?
The students are sent out on long patrols. They could be attacked at any time by an opposing force of specially trained Rangers.
Move that gun! Get down!
The students' goal is simple: to complete the mission and return alive. For each patrol, the instructors will select a different student to take command. The new leader will have just minutes to construct a battle plan and brief his troops.
We got plenty of ammo. There's no reason you should be walking around with anything less than 3 magazines of 5.56. Get your heads in the game, get your team in his ass, and make it happen. We have 30 minutes. Move.
Ranger instructors monitoring the patrols will closely grade each student's reactions under fire. Since they are firing blanks, Ranger instructors will determine who is killed or wounded in the midst of the firefight.
Got 2 up here! 3!
They're dead.
Let's go, search them.
Afterward, each patrol leader is graded on a pass or fail. By day 16, Class 1000 has finished 8 days of operations around Camp Darby.
Hey, Marty. Push it right. Push it right.
Today, Captain Justin Michael is appointed squad leader by the RIs. At 35 years old, he's the oldest man in his class. He knows time is against him in his race for the Ranger tab.
I need these young guys to motivate me. I mean, they keep me motivated, and that's why we have to work as a team, because you're only as strong as your weakest link.
This mission is reconnaissance. Suddenly, the team comes under surprise attack, and chaos reigns.
Hey, where you at? Bravo team! We're bounding back behind you!
Hold up, he's still there.
Michael fights to direct his unit.
Lay down, suppressive fire, we're going to bound! Let's go, out there, bound down the hill.
He splits up his squad to surround the enemy.
Follow me! Left side, bound! Right side, bound!
As they close in,
Get out the frag!
Michael commits a lethal mistake.
Cover me while I throw my grenade, all right?
His grenade rolls back toward him and his troops.
Damn! Frag out! Frag out! You never throw a grenade up the hill, man.
An instructor declares one of Michael's men a fatality.
All right, 2 and 3 gunner, you're dead. 2 and 3 gunner, you're dead.
The mission is a total failure. One more mistake like this could end Michael's hopes for a Ranger tab. At the conclusion of the Derby Patrol phase, the Ranger instructors tabulate all the grades and reports for each of the students. Only those who have proven themselves worthy in the last 3 weeks will move to the next phase of the school.
You always think you did really well, but you put up in that line and you're waiting to get called up, and you're told if you're a go or no go, you start doubting yourself.
Most who fail will be sent home. A few will be offered a chance to start over with the following class. The second phase of Ranger School takes place at Camp Merrill in the rugged mountains of northern Georgia. This phase will push all the men further into exhaustion and test Class 10-0-0 in ways that few can imagine. Day 28. The second phase of Ranger School is at hand. For the next 4 weeks, the men of Class 10-0-0 will confront the rugged mountains of northern Georgia.
I lay 2, pull it out yourself!
Stand up on your left foot.
Here, they learn that for a U.S. Army Ranger, getting there is truly half the battle. June 6th, 1944. In the first moments of the Allied invasion on D-Day, Army Rangers must scale a 100-foot wall of death and knock out the Nazi guns that topped Normandy's Pointe du Hoc. As they battled to the top of the cliff, 45 Rangers were cut down in the teeth of withering German fire.
Good job, Lane 9.
More than half a century later, these men will face their own vertical hell.
Feet flat against the third rung, knees locked to the rear. What are you doing?
Lane 6, fall. All right, nasty plunge, man. Get back up here. Let's do it again.
Eyes open, chin on chest. Sound off with your lane number. What are you doing?
Even first-time climbers have just 2 days to master mountaineering skills.
Come on, Ranger. Hurry up. Get that stuff on. Get up here.
Never, ever take your brake hand off the rope.
Just let go.
One more time and you're gone now. That's
They'll learn how to climb and fight while carrying a back-breaking load of nearly 100 pounds of gear.
go, step it up.
It's like carrying your mother-in-law on your back to Sunday services. You don't want to do it if you can avoid it.
On patrol, each student trades off lugging the heavy weapons. One item they're happy to carry is food. To mimic combat shortages, they're allowed to carry only enough food for 2 meals. The trading of any leftovers reaches a fevered pitch.
Ranger Horn, he loved lemon pound cake with strawberry jam. And myself and Ranger Guy were always in competition to find that yellow pound cake so we could get his fudge brownie. Because the fudge brownie is just the piece de resistance out there in the field.
A dangerous handicap threatens to push one more from the class. Ranger hopeful Justin Michael has been bitten by a poisonous recluse spider.
It hurt like hell. I knocked it away, and from then, you know, I just continued the mission, and it started to fester after about 2 days.
Michael is in serious need of medical attention.
Yeah, this is gonna numb me up.
Army medics perform open-air surgery to extract the spreading poison from beneath his face.
Okay, little stick, it's gonna be a stick in the brain.
In an excruciating procedure done with no anesthetic, a large piece of medical gauze is inserted under his skin.
No vision changes, no dizziness?
Oh, no, sir, you fixed me up.
No big pain?
No, sir.
Due to the severity of his injury, the medical staff urges that Michael willingly drop from the class. But in true Ranger spirit, he refuses and soldiers on.
Regardless of whether I'm injured or not, I still have to continue training, and there's no way they're going to make me quit.
The class now puts their newfound mountaineering skills to the test.
Phase 1, testing!
Stand up on that X-ray. Lock that right knee out. That ain't doing no good.
Place your toes flat against the rock like that.
But fatigue and frustration wreak havoc.
Keep your body into the rock.
Uh-oh. I have a hard time now, Ranger.
Fierce reprimands from the Ranger instructors echo across the rocks.
Don't do that. Don't take a whole lot of hands to get in there.
Get your knees off the rock!
Get off your knees!
Taking to the air, Class 1000 will add high-speed air assaults in Army Black Hawk helicopters to their lethal bag of tricks.
Hey, gun 1, gun 2, let's go!
An ambush drill signals a return to the simulated round-the-clock war. Amidst the confusion, the students scatter and leave behind some weapons. It's a critical mistake, and it results in 2 students being dropped from the course.
What is this over here? You over there. What are you doing?
One of them is Adrian Spivak. His last chance to complete Ranger School now lost. He quickly packs up and goes home. As modern Ranger units fight mostly at night, they must turn darkness into an ally. These student Rangers wear night vision goggles and push the fight into the shadows. After 6 weeks with very little sleep, just staying awake is a Herculean challenge.
Daylight's easy to stay awake. It's when you get in the patrol base at 2 in the morning and you got to make it 3 hours or 4 hours until the sun comes up. That's when it's hard to stay awake. You're gonna fall asleep. Inevitable.
It's often at this stage that hunger and exhaustion trigger the onset of hallucinations.
It's really hard to describe exactly how tired they are. You see some strange things when you're in the wood line. I've seen students at night standing in front of trees thinking it was Coke machines.
Tonight's mission is to attack an enemy outpost hidden deep in the forest. The student platoon is ready to attack. They advance straight into the face of enemy fire. But 3 of the men hesitate and are pronounced dead by Ranger instructors.
Take him off! Take him
attack did not go well.
We don't set the choke point up until we're ready to withdraw. Get your ass back out there and do your job.
What are we gonna do, squad leader? Let's go.
The men who will move on must find a way to endure as their bodies begin to fail. Only those who survive will emerge as Rangers. Nearly 2/3 of the way through Ranger School, the students of Class 10-00 are struggling to survive the arduous lessons of the mountain phase. The training patrols are getting more complicated, and each student strains to keep up.
Y'all to parallel the LZ and you pick up, you bump into this trail.
Their next objective, seek and destroy an enemy force operating nearby. The students don't realize it, but this enemy is particularly crafty. Tripwire warning alarms encircle their camp. When a student stumbles into the wire, the trap is sprung. Suddenly, it's every man for himself. Student casualties mount quickly.
Have a man dead.
You have a man dead?
Man dead.
Medic!
Although real lives have not been lost, it's clear that for a few, dreams of a career as a Ranger have died in this firefight.
That's your job. That's what you're doing out here. You're being tested as a leader.
Roger.
Your ability to make calls that we're going to count in combat. So I ask you again, how do you think you did?
Could have been a lot better.
Among those moving ahead is Justin Michael.
The thing that surprises me the most is what your body's capable of doing without food, without sleep.
Now, the Ranger hopefuls leap into the third, final, and most lethal phase of Ranger School. They have left the mountains of Georgia and now find themselves in the swamps of the panhandle of Florida. Only 101 soldiers remain.
I'd say we're reaching the breakdown stage now. I think over the 5 days, we probably averaged, say, maybe 1 hour a day of sleep, if you average it out.
Now, the Ranger hopefuls leap into the third, final, and most lethal phase of Ranger School. They have left the mountains of Georgia and now find themselves in the swamps of the panhandle of Florida. Only 101 soldiers remain.
I'd say we're reaching the breakdown stage now. I think over the 5 days, we probably averaged, say, maybe 1 hour a day of sleep, if you average it out.
There's about 2,700 different species of snakes found throughout the world.
With the new location come grave new dangers. The surrounding swamps teem with alligators and snakes. The Ranger instructors running this class are trained herpetologists, able to handle the deadliest snakes in the world. No student dares fall asleep in this class. In the shaded bogs, the temperature can drop dramatically. Fighting the cold is a constant problem. In December of 1995, after a long night of patrolling in near freezing conditions, 4 Ranger students lost their lives to hypothermia.
Combat in its own very nature is high risk and very life-threatening, and we train the way we fight. So there's no getting around some of the unsafe conditions in combat when you're training for combat.
A massive safety review in the wake of the tragedy triggered major changes. A vast rescue and communications network now surrounds the Florida phase. This final phase, like the others, is all about patrols. On this mission, Ranger candidate Colin Owens suddenly finds himself the man in charge. Having performed poorly while leading his first patrol, he needs to redeem himself if he wants to stay in this class. His challenge is to find a way to lead men who refuse to follow. The Blackhawks drop a platoon within 400 meters of the opposing force. The well-rested enemy lies in ambush, waiting to exploit the students' weaknesses. An enemy mortar attack triggers the fight. A smokescreen offers only momentary protection before the students begin to fall. Owens swiftly devises a plan to evacuate his wounded men. Under heavy barrage, Owens and his men head for the choppers. His decisive reactions save his platoon and earn them all high marks.
That went very well. I did a lot better than I imagined.
The next mission begins with a 2-hour raft trip. At River's End, the men load up and continue on foot to their target. With the sun setting, the platoon is desperate to cross another river and stay on schedule. Finally on high ground, the patrol quickly dries off to avoid hypothermia. Ranger instructors give the tired students final orders. This platoon must search out and destroy an enemy convoy. David Blaylock, with no warning, is ordered to lead the platoon into battle. Battered by the trek, many under Blaylock's command are walking zombies. For the platoon leader, with so much at stake, their fatigue is infuriating.
If you're not on a patrol and you're in a patrol base and you fall asleep on security, well, in a wartime environment, that's punishable by death.
With their targets in view, the men finally muster the energy to attack. When the smoke clears, the students have captured their objective. It looks like a success, but they won't know for sure until the instructors pass final judgment. With just 2 days left in the course, the men of Class 1000 have begun to count down the hours until this hell is over.
Our way home. Yeah.
But they're unaware that one final surprise still awaits them. With 2 days remaining in Ranger School, the men of Class 1000 bear little resemblance to the well-rested and well-fed soldiers of 2 months ago.
I say that I probably lost 20 or 30 pounds easily. My muscles are gone. Body fat is gone. I'm just skinny.
Medics do their best to patch up injuries, and keep the men on their feet for their final days of trial. Near collapse from lack of food and sleep, the men take comfort in the knowledge that pass or fail, this will all soon be over.
With just 2 more missions left, it's hard not to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
At dusk, the soldiers rendezvous at a starting point on the Florida coast for what will be their final exam. An all-out night raid on an enemy-held island across the coastal sound.
Roger, so we're going to have them move out here now. You want me to give them the word over?
The darkness forces them to rely on their night vision goggles to find their way. If they are to attack in force, the rafts must stay together.
Not on a 3-hour tour to Gilligan's Island.
On shore and within sight of the enemy force, tonight's platoon leaders craft the plan for this, their final battle. Just over the ridge, the opposing force prepares to take its last shot at Class 10-0-0. The students on guard duty, lying silently in the sand, are fighting to stay awake. Unexpectedly, an exhausted student accidentally squeezes a trigger and fires on the enemy. Having lost the element of surprise, the student platoon must attack immediately. With strength in numbers, the students advance and send the enemy into retreat. The final mission completed, the men wait for a ride back to camp. The last day of Ranger School.
I told you, Peter.
The instructors throw one last surprise at the students, an 8-mile speed march to the gates of Camp Rudder, the finish line of Ranger School.
You're not falling out. It's the last day of Ranger School, and you're not falling out. Now let's go.
The unexpected hurdle could prove too much for Jason Hancock.
Look at me, hands in my boots.
3 weeks in the swamps have blistered and scarred his feet.
And I said that open cuts and sores. If you're going to the swamp, that brought us a mild case of trench foot, which takes you out of range school. And after 8.5 weeks, there's no way I'm stopping range school just for a little cut and a bruise and a little bit of pain that I get through.
Despite the excruciating pain, Hancock manages to limp the final miles.
We're going to do a end-course critique. Wake up, men. Men, wake up.
Immediately, the men are asked to pass judgment on each other in a process called peer review. Men are fighting to stay awake.
All right, man. Now we're going to cover the actual critique itself. All right, this is going to help us with
Wake up,
later
Ranger.
cases. All right, it'll tell us what we need to work on.
Even though they made it across the finish line, that doesn't mean they're Rangers yet. They must await the final thumbs up from the U.S. Marine Nathaniel Guy is also among those who make the grade.
We recommend you pass the course and receive your Ranger tab.
Good to go.
Do you wish to appeal this decision at all?
Not at all.
You come here, you gotta realize right off the bat that it's gonna suck and that you're gonna be physically and mentally broke down when you leave here. But at the end, it'll be worth it. How you doing, Jay?
Jason Hancock's problems with his feet have detracted from his performance in the final days, but his strong showing in the Florida phase is just enough. He will graduate with 10-0-0.
Congratulations. Thanks. This is where it all begins. Well, good luck to 9 years in making. I appreciate it. Thanks.
However, chronic injuries have taken a greater toll on Justin Michael. He doesn't do well on the 2 critical patrols and will not graduate.
I'm going to recommend it should be recycled.
But he gets a second chance and accepts the offer to repeat the Florida phase with the next class of students.
Sure, I'm disappointed. I mean, that's just a human feeling, but I mean, I'm not going to quit, and they can't make me quit, and the only way that they can get me out of here is, you know, by me not making it this next go-round.
David Blaylock faces a similarly harsh review. On the verge of being dropped from the course, he appeals his case, and he is allowed to repeat the final phase.
Rangers lead the way, sir. I'll wait.
As the recycles ready themselves for another month in Florida, the rest of the class prepares to return to where it all began, Camp Rogers. Those who have passed are given the honor of jumping into Georgia as full-fledged Rangers. Of the 243 students who started with Class 10-0-0 9 weeks ago, only 42 remain.
My hair looks all right.
37 former recycles bring the graduating class to 79.
In my mind, a Ranger is the most disciplined soldier that the Army has today. In my mind, it's not so much a rite of passage as it's an outlook on life. It's a disciplined outlook on how we live our lives and how we conduct ourselves.
Come along with the Denver 12 hold! Hold the Denver 12 hold! Prestige! Honor! And the high esprit de corps of the Rangers! The high esprit de corps of the Rangers!
As graduating Rangers, they vow to uphold the prestige and honor that the tab represents. Nathaniel Guy is bestowed top honors for his outstanding patrol record and conduct in the field. Family, friends, and distinguished veterans are given the honor of pinning the coveted yellow and black tab on the newly minted Rangers.
It's something that I'm gonna never forget. It's gonna always be with me. And no matter what I do in the military, this is it. This is what I always wanted to be, was an airborne Ranger.
Ranger School has been the most humbling experience of my entire life. I've had the lowest lows and the highest highs of my life here.
Soon, some of the others who began with this class will themselves stand here to receive the Ranger tab. Justin Michael successfully repeated the Florida swamp phase and graduated with the following class. For the Army, Class 10-0-0 represents another handful of elite commandos who have stepped up to fill an urgent need for men who can lead the way in both peace and conflict. For the Rangers themselves, this has been a test of will, courage, and sheer endurance. Pass or fail, their time on the brutal proving ground of Ranger School has changed them forever. They have learned for themselves just how much one man can take.